Alafia. I'm Phil John Nymark, the founder of the IFA Foundation International. I'd like to welcome you to one more iteration of the weekly Ifascope. The weekly Ifascope is predicated on the knowledge or the premise, depending upon your point of view, that for thousands of years, Orunmila or Arula or whatever name you feel the universe goes by, has been observing us and our actions and our day-to-day results. Now, it would be too much to expect us, I believe, to do this and tell each and every one of you what it's going to be like. Are you going to get the job? Is the boy going to be acceptable to you? Is the girl going to like you? Are you going to get the new car? Is somebody going to get better from their illness? All those kinds of things, of which probably they're all the same kind of thing that can eventually happen, but they're also just too much to deal with in this kind of a reading. So what this does is Orunmila has taken a close look at what is happening and is trying to understand what our own knee-jerk responses have been. Because, by the way, we all have knee-jerk responses. We all have things that we're more comfortable doing and more comfortable acting out. But Orunmila is only interested in doing that which is productive for you, for all of us. And so this is the culmination of his decisions upon rectifying or doing better with the Odu that we have, and seeing how it works out. I think you're going to find it very, if you haven't been doing it, you're going to find it very worthwhile to do it. Because one, it relieves you of the responsibility, and two, it increases your results. I mean, there's just no question about it. It increases the results many fold. I mean, it's hard to even equate the two together. And I suppose the reason I'm talking about all of this is that once again, the energy is EB. It is O'Shea, Iwari, which are two very distinct and different kinds of input. In the O'Shea, it is about curiosity, it is about movement, it is about travel, it's about making our own way, looking for what it is that we need to solve, that we want to solve. And then going over to the emotional spiritual side, where worry is about measure twice, cut once. Be very, very careful about what it is we're doing. And that's where we come up with the blank spot about, we are once again EB. We are off path. Not here, but here. But we could go here when we get the correct info. So, one other thing I want to, before I get into the specific reading anymore, is to make the point that I try to tell people that are into this for the first time or relatively new, or even that have been around for many years and they're trying to make their own attitudes and their own understanding of how this works, and explain to them that really there is no terrific difference between on path and off path. I mean, so many people think that if you are on path, it's whoopee time, everything is going to be fine, everything is going to be perfect. And you go off and you make a damn fool of yourself, frankly. And then there's, when you have EB, it's, oh, heavens, what terrible things are going to happen to me? Well, neither one of those is true. By the way, there's also the third generation, which is those that come from definitive Lukumi or Santeria backgrounds, always seem to find foreboding. I bring that up because somebody today sent me a reading, and that's what they had. They were on path. There was no reason for that, but they began with, "I have to be very careful. It's going to be, you know." We get rid of all that. We're not worried about any of that. This nonsensical, fear-based equations which keep us from realizing our own destiny. So at any rate, this comes Obi Ogunda off path, which shows that there's too many decisions, or maybe we're making the wrong decisions, but in this universe that is, sending us all of this information, we're not making the right decision, and then we're not, on the emotional spiritual side, staying on top of it. We are not keeping the work going. We may be doing a little of the work and then stop a little bit and on and on and on. Regardless, it's off path. And it's off path in a very big way for victory over difficulty. Now, victory over difficulty is one of those peculiar kinds of things where I call it the good news, the bad news. Good news and bad news. The good news is you're going to be, victorious at whatever the problem is. But on the other hand, you have got to get through whatever difficulties the universe is presenting for you. So it's not a smooth, sailing. It doesn't just flow. It's something you have to work at. Indeed, this is something we have to work at. And when it comes to Ogunda Meiji, it suggested we are not doing that. That either we need to buckle down to get this to work on both the emotional, spiritual side and on the temporal side. And we have to be very, very aware of what's involved here. When people come to us and say, "Hey, come on, let's go catch a bite, or let's go get a drink, or let's do whatever it is we do," and we'll come back and we'll do that again. We're gonna just put it aside. You're making yourself crazy. Well, it is time to make ourselves a little bit crazy. So, that's all she wrote, and all it's indicated. So when I put all these things together, it came out that Oshun was the Orisha that dominates this reading. And that narrowed it down not to joy or having a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever was going on, but that's about exploration, curiosity. All right? That's about a person who needs answers and isn't letting anything stand in their way about getting them. They're going to get those, answers. Pretty simple. So the question was, what kind of an bow was necessary? Well, when it came down to it, it was the simplest of the bows. It was honey. And in this case, it wasn't just honey about being sweetness and loving and all the rest of it. It was the stickiness in honey. Excuse me. I don't know if if you've ever worked with honey or rubbed it on your hands or giving it to the Orisha or anything like that, but basically, if you have, you realize that there's a sticky quality to this. And that is what the universe is asking us to do today. It's to get sticky with our offerings, to ask Oshu. So what we do basically is, for those of us lucky enough to have received Oshun, or those who are just using something for Oshun, bring Oshun down, or the representation down, a glass of cool water, not 8 or 10 glasses, but a single glass. All right? And it should be, by the way, pure water, not tap water. All right? You can get it at the supermarket or elsewhere, and you can pop for the $1, the quarter, or whatever it is. So you do that. You take that, and you take the honey. Then you take a small bowl of honey, and you put it all together, and you pray to Oshu. It's time to get with the program, and it's time for us to understand that the difference between being on path and off path is just a smudge off, a little teeny bit. So we're going to go back on, we're going to do the prayers, we're going to do the offerings, and we're going to put this right back here, which is where it belongs. All right? Until next week, love and blessings.